Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the one, the only, the Green White Checker podcast. Welcome to our first live stream for those of us watching us live. Thanks to our returning listeners here. A little wave to all our live folks here. I'm your host this week, Austin Drake, here with, of course, Zachary Sullivan, Joe Sullivan, and Andrew Not Sullivan. And a new face this week. Our very first guest, none other, no one else I'd rather have for our first guest, the one, the only, the Brian Hicks. Brian, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for
What's going on? I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, Brian, as our first guest, you want to just tell us a little about yourself, just kind of give us a little brief intro, rundown on who you are.
I'm Brian Hicks of the Brian Hicks Driving Experience. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Brian Hicks, and I am the last 2 years running sex symbol of iRacing.
Only 2 years. Wow. What happened? Want to know what made you jump from not to being it? So we're very blessed to have you here.
Thanks.
Brian Hicks also wrecked our 24 car 1 year. Fun fact.
He did. Yes, it was. We after tons of practice,
all
tons of preparation. I think
we didn't get deep into the race.
I think I ran the car once, within the year before that race, and then I don't even know if I actually got in the car before it all went to crap. But Brian, again, happy to have you here. Well, that was a week there, folks. We had Talladega last week. Got Dover coming up this week. I'd call it an eventful race, Talladega. More than right around the top lane the whole time, so that was good. But overall, kind of what are our thoughts on the Talladega race this past weekend?
Well, why don't we lead into our special guest first, Mr. Hicks? What do you think of it?
Yeah, Brian, give us your rundown.
Lackluster is like the first word that comes to my mind. It's like it's not the super speedway race any of us want. If you've been a fan of NASCAR for more than 5 years, you know what a good super speedway race is supposed to look like, and that wasn't it.
Yeah. Right before the second stage ended, I thought about putting a poll in the Discord of, is this a good race? And, no, at that point.
And then Jeff Gluck would have emailed you with a cease and desist.
Yeah. That's why it's in the Discord.
Right. Well, Gluck's in our Discord, right? He listens to the podcast.
He is.
Yeah.
Fun. Yep.
There wasn't much going on, right? It's the
Yeah.
single file train, just double file this time.
Yep. Yeah, I keep going back and forth. I don't know if it's just like the new era or whatever, but plate racing isn't always that exciting. Not at the beginning. They always do this ride around thing because they're always trying to make it to the end. And I think we forget about that a lot. I think we forget about the opening segments always being kind of meh. Because, why are you going to race for it all on lap 10? The stages, do they help? Do they not help? I don't know. I guess you could argue they make people race a little harder at the end, but then it's like anticlimactic because they throw the caution. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them. I still kind of want them to go away. But yeah, for the most part, it was just a two-lane train instead of a single-lane train, so I don't know really what the gain there is. We were able to get a third lane, but that sort of seemed pretty dependent on the two inside lanes, like checking up or lifting and saving fuel. So there was a third lane, sure, but it needed a lot of help to get there.
Yeah.
So.
I'd rather, it was 2-lane riding around. I'd rather see that than 1 lane. At least they're kind of side by side. They're still doing a little side drafting. You still have the front lane, or the lanes kind of competing for territory and 1 lane going up. But, I think that overall, I agree, it was somewhat lackluster. I think that, it almost feels like a Formula One race where the most exciting part up until the ending is the pits. It's not even the pit strategy and who's going to do what. It's you got Tyler Reddick slamming into the wall. You got guys spinning out, locking up too late. You got Joey speeding. You have all this stuff that kind of adds to the drama. But other than that, you're watching guys, and there's the part 2 where, okay, these guys are pitting together. Are they, are they going to get caught by this field? Are the Chevys going to pit better than the Fords? Are the Fords going to lose all this time? Who the Toyota's going to go with? Because there's 2 of them out there. I think it's that's like the most exciting part. But I think someone said it a while ago. It was like, I want to say it was Mark Martin. I don't think it was Mark Martin, but for whatever reason that comes to mind, where super speedway racing has evolved to a point where this is what we get, because the guys realize there's no point in pushing and wrecking and going 3 wide at any point other than the last 2 laps. I mean, obviously you're trying to not, if you're 23rd in line, obviously you're not really going to get anywhere even at the last 2 laps. You're still trying to jockey up a few spots, but I don't know. I don't know how to fix it, but I think that's a good description of kind of where we've gotten. Guys just don't want to tear up the race car sooner than they have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like the stages. I say get rid of them at plate tracks too. If you want to still pay the points, fine, but it's the same thing with road courses. Like everyone's gonna do like 1 of 2 things on pit road for the stages. And I don't know. I think we miss where you can kind of, if you're 23rd, like I think Chase was like 20th in the 20s most of the race, but like even if he wanted to, it's going to be hard for him to move up the pack in this car and this setup, unlike 5 years ago, right? And then if he gets up there and then he gets hung out to dry, then he's got to go to the back and try it again. But if you're in 20th, you're kind of stuck there all day in these cars, and we forget these are basically IMSA cars, plate racing, so you're going to kind of get that, and I don't know. There's just not a lot of kind of stuck where you are. Racing is always why am I blanking on the word? Track position game, but it just feels even more so now in these plate racing, and it's just not fun.
I think like just thinking about it more, I think I'm okay with the idea of the drivers, taking care of their stuff and playing it slow. But what I want is a package that when a guy is ready to move and wants to make that move to the outside, he's able to do it. Like when it's time to go, we're able to make moves. We're able to slice and dice. Maybe I decide that that's not until 20 laps to go. But I mean, with this car as it is, we're not going to see that big come from 18th all the way up to take the lead in 3 laps or whatever, like the great Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. moves that we used to see. You just can't do it. So that sucks.
Roof spoilers. Just saying. It worked great in 2000. Let's do it again.
I don't know.
But with kind of what Joe was saying and Drake was saying also, the first stage was interesting because we had, 2 guys spin coming onto pit road. So green flag pit stops, how do you get those more at a play track? You get rid of stages, right? It's just another instance this year of where, the stages kind of seem to be the downfall. You had the road courses where it was better. You had, Richmond where the lap cars were coming into play and would have been better without the stages. And now you got a super speedway that, the green flag pit stops were the most interesting thing, but stages kind of remove those.
Mm-hmm. They kill a lot of the natural events that'll transpire. And I mean,
yeah,
we know when they're going to pit. They're all going to pit like halfway through. It's just which manufacturer pits first. That's the only thing we're wondering.
I mean, if we get rid of stage cautions and just do stage points like we do at road courses now, would we see that same kind of action at the end of the stages?
Sure, why not? Why wouldn't you?
I mean, if I feel like part of the reason you're throwing it 3 wide there at the finish line is because you're gonna stop. Okay, I can throw my car out here, kind of risk a wreck because we're gonna back it down to 60 miles an hour as soon as we cross the finish line.
Yeah, not really. You're risking a wreck. You're risking a wreck. I mean, if you're gonna slow down the next lap or if you're not, I think if you put points on the line, guys are still gonna go for it. Some guys, I mean, you'll see what we saw yesterday where. Or not yesterday, Sunday, where, if you're 12th, 13th, and you're not going anywhere, and you're not going to get up there, you're probably just going to bail out, and you're going to have the top 10 really fight for it. I think guys would still go for it. Are they a little conservative more? Maybe, but I don't think it's going to be just like a single file, we accept where we're at kind of thing. I think they'll still race.
I don't think it's going to be single file go where we're at, but I just feel like the promise of the caution when you're like coming through the tribal, come to the line, like are you more hesitant to shoot it out to the side and put you in a narrower lane because you're going to keep going 180 miles an hour, 190 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour after that. Not 200, sorry, NASCAR, don't ban us for saying 200 miles an hour. But
they love to say it.
Yeah.
It's a little sidebar. They over-exaggerate the speed of these cars all the time, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
They talk about it like Charlotte. Oh, they're doing 200 miles an hour. They haven't done 200 miles an hour at Charlotte.
Right. More like 170.
And I don't even know how long.
Yeah. I don't know, Brian. What are your? That's been a talk ever since we saw the lack of cautions on road course stages. What are your thoughts on removing keeping stages but removing stage cautions everywhere?
I think everywhere, I hadn't really thought about that. Definitely super speedways. I think you would see a lot of positions being changed coming to the caution because those guys are not coming to the caution but coming to the end of the stage because you're gonna see guys fan out, especially at Talladega 3, 4, 5 wide, and then the question after that is when the stage ends, what lanes decide to just back out of it altogether? If you fanned out 5 wide for the lead, are those 2 outside lanes going to keep charging to try to keep the lead? Or, and you lose that if you throw a caution. But, the way it is now, they've essentially turned a 500-mile race into like a 8-mile race because they're only racing the last lap 4 or 3 times.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Question 2, has been talk. This is for everybody. There's been talk of shortening races altogether. Obviously, that's something people have talked about. It's like, okay, well, why do we need 500 6-mile 500? I haven't only had one glass of bourbon too. Gosh. 500 or 600-mile races every week, or even 400, apart from like the Daytona 500, the Coke 600, maybe a couple others in there. Why not make them all like Xfinity length, right? And I didn't watch the Xfinity race, but from what I heard, it was a pretty great race. Obviously, we talk about all the time about how great the Xfinity package is and everything, but would that solve a lot of these issues if they made the races like half the length? Are you going to have guys racing the whole time because there's less time to ride around, or they kind of have to make their moves a lot sooner? What are kind of, I guess, our thoughts on shortening races and fixing this issue?
I'm against it. I don't know. First of all, from a fan experience, right? You go to the track, you want to get the most out of it, right?
They already took your practice away from you.
Yeah.
You go see that.
Well, that's the thing. Like back in the day when I used to go to races, you went for practice, you went for qualifying, you went for all those. And now it's kind of like, why? You just show up Sunday, watch the race. So I don't know. You got to keep the fan experience. I've mentioned before, the fan experience outside the track's kind of lacking these days. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, shortening the races, I get the point. Like you think they'll just run harder all the time, but that's not the deal. This is a race. They're going to run hard when they need to run hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you shorten some if you want. I don't care, but I think you got to keep some at their length. Like Coke 600's got to stay 600. Daytona 500, I think you got to keep your Talladega. Like when I start thinking about all the races that I want to keep at the same length, it's like, well, I wouldn't shorten any of them really. But I don't know. I could probably give up a couple, but I don't know. I just keep going back to you need to get rid of stages. Like that's my thing. Like because I think stages really interrupt a lot of like the natural occurrences that would happen during the race. Like you don't have to worry about conserving tires as much because you're getting a caution in a certain amount of laps. Your runs are shorter. You can do certain things. It takes strategy out of it and all this stuff. Like seeing a race just develop naturally is it's more interesting, I think. I felt when they took the stages out of the road course at Coda, like I didn't feel like I could just get up and walk away at any point of the race because it's like, what if something happens that changes this whole dynamic of how this race is shaking out? One small caution can shake up everything. So I think that adds to the drama, that adds to the story of just having a race that naturally plays out versus like this, these 3 segments and, it basically gives people a cushion. It lets these teams kind of relax. Whereas if you're just in a race and it could go green, you got to stay on your game the whole time. I think that just adds to it for me.
Which is interesting because I feel a large reason stages were added in general is to add excitement, to add those kind of elements and add entertainment value to the whole thing. But I think I agree with you that
I think they're for short attention spans.
TikTok era.
That's what I think.
Know?
Yeah. Well, that and then they sold them on
TikTok star himself, Brian Hicks here. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. They sold them on being like, we will run our commercials during stage breaks, and give you more green flag racing. Well, we all know that's bullshit. So,
I think I am an avid fan of shortening these races. Like I am.
Really?
Yes, 100%. Like if it would
TikTok star.
Listen, it's if a race was two to when in 2020, the first race back was what, Darlington?
Yep.
That race was the perfect length. It was like 2.5 hours. That's all I need. NASCAR has made it very clear that yes, they want the fans that show up to the race to have a good time and a good experience, but their number one priority is the TV networks. The TV networks do not care how many people show up to that racetrack because NASCAR is getting a bulk of their money from the TV networks, not from people who show up at the racetrack. So if shortening the race puts more asses in the seats because you don't have to. Now, granted, I'm not going to travel to as many races if I'm only going to be sitting there for 2.5 hours.
Right.
I go 10, 12 races a year. I'm not going to go five hours away for a 2-hour race, but you might be able to attract people closer to the track with a shorter race.
Right. And that's what I keep, like, for instance, got the 600 coming up, and this is one that I'm even arguing even if I'm like, oh yeah, we should shorten them, I think we keep the Coke 600 the same length. But I have a handful of people from my office who I've talked into going with me, like going and tailgating before, coming into the race and everything. And I've had a few people come back to me and be like, I wanted to go, but then I realized someone told me it's like 6 hours. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it is the longest race on the NASCAR schedule, and you're signing up for it. So I think like 90% of the people come to the race with me from my office. We're just gonna leave like partway through, and so then they're missing arguably the most exciting part of the race. What could be the most exciting part of the race, which is the end. They're there for like the endurance section, and they're leaving for the most exciting section. And again, like I'm saying, Coke 600, I'm like keep that the same. It's like. And get rid of stage cautions for that. Absolutely. I hate stage cautions of the 600. It takes away the entire point of the 600 of being the endurance section. But, I think...
Even worse yet, they add a stage.
Yeah, exactly. They make it... and they're all for the same length. It's like, what? This isn't even... What is this? Anyway. But I think that's one thing for me. And I know NASCAR, we talk a lot. Just in general, I feel like where NASCAR pursues the casual fan, not the hardcore fan, and it loses a lot of the hardcore fans that way and fails to even reach the casual fans. And so I think that that's a tricky thing is, to like with Brian's point with my point too of shortening the race to bring more people in locally or whatever. I think that's a tricky thing with that, but also I think it would potentially bring in more people. Like, if they, it's a 2-hour race. All right, cool. I'm there the whole time. But I don't know. That's kind of I'm on the fence with it. So I definitely see both sides.
I'm okay with it and I think we're all okay with it at certain tracks. Like if you want to make Texas a 100-mile race, that's fine with me.
10-lap race, 10-lap shootout. That'd be great.
But and like, all right, you make some races shorter, but maybe I don't know. You should give more practice anyway. But because a lot of people are like, oh, I want to go have as much racing. That's why the less practice sucks because there's less cars on track time. So, if you're gonna say, all right, Texas is now a 300-mile race, give them more practice. I don't know, because I feel like with the less practice, the first half of these races are kind of treated as, or at least maybe the first stage is kind of like a mini practice, right? You gotta see what your car's got, and then you make your big changes at the first pit stop. But yeah, definitely, the big races you got to keep the same length, and I had that same problem with inviting friends to the Coke 600. That's why I miss having the All-Star race in Charlotte, because that was
perfect.
a quickie, and we could
so perfect to bring new fans to.
Yep. But I don't know. There's not going to be a perfect answer. People are going to be mad either way, but I'm okay with some, not all.
Yeah, I'll give you some. You got to keep the 5. You got to keep the super speed they're at. You got to keep the Coke 600. You got to keep Bristol the same. You got to have one 500 lap Martinsville race.
Southern 500.
You got to have the Southern 500.
And they got to figure out which one's going to be the throwback race, because I feel like half the teams do one race, half the teams do the other.
I feel like it's got to be the Labor Day one.
It's got to be.
I agree.
Like, and Fox gets all these cool events and stuff like that. Give NBC the cool events. Fuck Fox. They don't deserve anything neat. They don't deserve nice things.
Facts.
Oh man, Clint said dancing partner about 500 times.
He's got a good hot rod.
He's got a good hot rod. They're dancing together.
I turned it. I couldn't watch until like the third stage, and within 5 minutes, I swear he said dancing partner like 5 times. I'm like, Clint, dog, no.
Brian, were you gonna say? I feel like you're about to say something else.
Back to the shortening of the races.
Brian's big shorter is better.
Yes, it is. I mean, that's one thing.
I tell my wife that all the time.
So this will be Brian Hicks's last appearance on the podcast.
I don't watch much racing. I watch NASCAR, and recently I've gotten into F1, as with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the
don't even come here and say that's good. Don't even say it.
One of the biggest appealing aspects of F1 race is the fact that it's over in an hour and a half. And how many people show up to those races? The experience is
so miserable. The best thing about F1 is that it's so short. That is the greatest thing about F1.
How many people show up to those races? Those races are packed.
How many people are actually showing up for a race?
And have you seen the stands?
But also,
I've seen them, but how many are there
from different countries to go to those races?
But also, that's the only chance within 10,000 miles. Well, I mean, not 10,000. Europe's not that big, but like that's the one chance to go to that race. So, I mean, just a counter argument. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
How many people showed up to the Miami race?
All the rich people.
I mean, F1 has 3 races in America this year.
Exactly.
And I guarantee they'll be sold. They'll still be sold out.
Well, they're also as far as Germany is from England, so from
people are paying
Las Vegas. So
I'm not saying that the short races is what makes F1 great, but it definitely helps. And
there's not much.
NASCAR is trying to attract that fan. They are trying to attract the F1, the new F1 fans that have started following that series because they watched the Netflix series. And I hate to say it, but the only person that's pushing for the long length NASCAR races are the old head purists. And I hate to say it, but those people are dying off. Okay, I did not get into NASCAR. I didn't get into NASCAR until 08, 09. So I am not that purist. I am like, I get bored. I take a nap. I should not be taking a nap at a racetrack.
Yeah,
like I will fall asleep.
I do have
during the Coke 600.
I do have pictures of Brian asleep at the Coke 600.
You should go to an F1 race.
You should not have that at a race.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, this is a point you made earlier, and this is, again, I'm on the fence about this. I went to Austin, the Circuit of the Americas Formula One race in 2015. Paid God knows how much for general admission for turn 14 grandstand tickets for the whole weekend. And you sit down, you're at the race, and an hour and a half later, you're packing up, and you're like, that's it. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the hard thing is on TV. Yes, I don't mind a shorter race. I'm fine watching a shorter race. But like you're saying, showing up to a race, like you said before, showing up to a race, I'm going to, like for me, at least in Charlotte, going to 2 Charlotte races, at least 1 Darlington, at least probably 1 Martinsville, maybe a Bristol. But, for Vegas, they're going to 1 race, and then they're going to show up for an hour and a half and go home, and that's the race for the year. But also, like you're saying, it works for Formula One. Again, not saying we copy everything Formula One does, but it's such I don't know.
But that works for Formula One, and our racing is better than Formula One's. You combine those two, and you've got like a match made in heaven. That'd be perfect for me, and that's what made the Darlington race so nice back in 2020 was the fact that the stages were short, the race was short, so the racing was nonstop
Right.
during the whole 2-hour event.
Yeah. I mean, just a quick comment from Brandon here's in our chat. Thanks, Brandon. Some people fall asleep during the Coke 600. Other people just leave. Such
true.
as
Calls himself a purist and then leaves.
I want longer races so I can leave earlier.
Brandon said, like most things, Joe's leaving early apparently. So,
Well, so
plead the
here's my
fifth.
question. Here's my question. If NASCAR brings a great package to the track that gives you great racing the whole time, do you still want short races?
Has NASCAR ever given us a package where there was great racing for 600 miles?
Not since you've been watching NASCAR.
When was the last time?
Oh man, probably like early 2000s, early mid 2000s.
I'm telling you, that Gen 4 car is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Jack's
but
watched
we're
that.
never going to get the Gen 4 car again.
No, but you said when did they ever make the package? I'm just answering the question.
For the people you're trying to bring in, especially with a new car, this new car is not going nowhere for a while. So do something to make the racing better. Like whether it be shortening the races, which shortens the stage breaks, if you're not going to get rid of stage breaks. So there's more racing. They're going to drive harder in a shorter race. In a 600-mile race, everybody's taking care of their car for 4 hours, and then that's when they pick up the pace.
I don't think they are, because I don't think you need to take care of your car anymore. Like when do we see engine blowups? That stuff doesn't happen anymore because they're running these.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch saw like 3 of them in a row. But before that, and I remember that because like, when do we even see engine blowups anymore?
Do you think they're running 100% for the first 4 hours of that 4.5-hour race?
that's true.
I mean, why wouldn't you? You got stages. You got to make sure you're moving ground. Like that's what the stages were supposed to do. You shorten the segment. You give that smaller portion of the race more meaning, so you don't just ride.
Yeah, and so that is one of my reasons for shortening the races is we don't have the reliability race that we used to have.
No.
That's what it started off is which manufacturer can bring the fastest car that can last the longest and, go the hardest. And now it's just, they're all the same car. They're all the same engines, same transmissions. It's just go at it, boys. And, I don't know. This new car, I mean, it even takes it away more. So, I don't know.
But back to my original thing about people don't go to the F1 race for the race. It's just the thing I've always heard about F1 races is like what they do really well is making the whole weekend like a proper event. Like it's a whole thing. It's a thing to go to, and a race just so happens to break out later. That's what I've heard.
Do that?
What's that?
Do you think NASCAR can do that?
I think they can.
Do you think they should?
They felt like they had it back.
I think you got to bring more to the fan experience. Bring back that race day built by the Home Depot.
Aren't they doing something like that? Am I making that up?
They're testing it. Yeah. They're testing it. I think Kenny Wallace and they didn't have it on TV though, which was a huge miss.
Yeah.
Doesn't practice matter more in F1?
Yeah, but they're actually talking about taking it away. Fun fact.
Oh yeah, that's right. Talking about shortening it.
Shortening practice?
I thought they were talking about getting rid of it entirely.
Really?
I think I saw something. I forget who tweeted it. Now I'm gonna have to go back and look. But I saw something they were looking at either shortening it drastically or taking it away entirely. I mean, maybe not like seriously, but they're like open to it or something. I'll have to find it.
Yeah, I'm curious on that, honestly.
So you ask if NASCAR can, give a fan experience. IndyCar at Iowa Speedway in July this year has a concert afterwards. Carrie Underwood, Kenny Chesney, Zach Brown,
Carrie Underwood,
Ed Sheeran.
Wow, Ed Sheeran.
IndyCar got that.
I guess we know where their marketing budget's going.
Yeah.
Carrie Underwood and Kenny Chesney on Saturday, and then Zach Brown Band and Ed Sheeran on Sunday.
But we got Ice Cube. So
IndyCar can do it without marketing at all and no fans watching their races. NASCAR can do it.
What race is that at? They're doing that?
Iowa Speedway.
Huh.
Newton, Iowa.
No,
I was like maybe the Indy 500 you're talking about, but yeah, I mean that's not even like a huge race.
I will say Hy-Vee, the sponsor for the race, they dump money into the race. Last year they built whole huge specialty grandstands for the race, and they had concerts also. So I don't know. It's going to be an event. My girlfriend's huge into country. I'm not. I'm being forced to go, and she's not a huge race fan. So you want to bring people to the track that aren't race fans? There you go.
Yeah.
Carrie Underwood.
I get people at the races by saying, "Hey, bring your own cooler into the track." So
Yeah.
that normally gets people on board. Which apparently more tracks than I realized have gotten rid of that. I thought it was like temporary code, and then like Nashville didn't. But someone said Vegas doesn't let you. Like I tweeted about it. I'd quote tweeted some guy who was complaining about like drink prices, which is always hilarious to me at NASCAR. And I quote tweeted him like, imagine complaining about concession prices at the only sport that lets you bring in your own concessions into the track. And then he replied and someone else replied. They had a good discussion about it, one guy, but it was like not every track allows that. And it was like Vegas and like a couple others. I'm like, I really hope that doesn't become a trend. Because, I mean, that's one thing I love about going to races is you don't have to drop 20. I mean, I have season tickets to Charlotte FC, and every time we go, we end up spending like 50. We dropped $50 on Bojangles and 2 beers. It was $50.
Yeah.
And I'm like, obviously, like I know Bojangles is going to be expensive, but and like obviously, but then like the first beers we bought were like $30, $35, something like that. So, and obviously, NASCAR's no. Whenever you actually buy beer at a track, it's going to be that expensive. But anyway, it's just kind of,
the venue's got to make their money. I see that point, but get fans in the seat.
Like
I mean,
make your money.
Cooler.
Seat sales.
Here in the Midwest, it's never been a thing. Chicagoland, I went to the inaugural first 3 years, and you couldn't. Kansas Speedway was the same, and people were bitching at Texas 2 years ago, last year, something like that, about not having it. I remember Kansas used to be in middle of July, and there was one where it was 100+ degrees. You're not allowed to bring anything in.
Oh yeah,
so
I remember that.
Where'd they do that? There was a big hubbub about it.
That
Texas.
Randy the plumber douchebag got all excited. Was it Nashville?
It was Nashville, I thought.
I think Nashville too, though.
Yeah, Nashville.
I think it was Texas, and then they invited him to Nashville or something, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe.
That guy fell off hard, didn't he?
Well, yeah, because he's like, "Oh, fuck you, NASCAR." He's like sitting on somebody's pit box, like, "You fucking douchebag."
That's hilarious.
But I mean, I think the first thing, I've always been a proponent of, if you build a great on-track product, people are going to want to see it. People are going to be a part of it. After that, you have to have a great fan experience. If you want to get people to the track, offer them something. I don't know, concerts, or let people bring beer or water or drinks or whatever. So I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot that they can do to create a better fan experience to draw people in. Bring something other than just the racing product as well. Why am I coming to your track other than the race?
Yeah, as the old-timey guy that's probably dying, according to Hicks.
Apparently I am too.
Sorry to bring up to you guys. Y'all are all deadly diseases.
You go to the races back in 2000, it was a big deal. I mean, you had...
Oh, yeah.
If you wanted to buy a diecast or something, your driver has 2 to 3 haulers outside just for your driver. So you've got like 50, 60 of them just sitting out there, and they're all packed, right? And then you got just games and sponsors giving away shit. I mean, it was a whole ordeal outside. And now you go, and it's, or at least up here, like Road America, there was like 6. It was just the team, So you got like the Hendrick one, the Gibbs one, and then the Ford one, because nobody wants to buy Ford shit. I don't know. Just that the whole fan experience thing there is lacking, in my opinion.
The Midway's been lacking for a while, I feel like. I don't know what they can really do. I mean, I feel like it's gotten better. I'll say that. When I went to the 600 a few years ago, it was like, okay, like there's nothing really going on. But since then, they're always bringing that simulator trailer now. They got NASCAR Heat, they got iRacing for the track you're at, or not Heat, whatever, Ignition, whatever it is.
God.
And Mario Kart, which is probably a better simulator than NASCAR Ignition. But Brandon said at Coda, it was a hauler per team plus Chase Elliott, of course. I think Kyle Busch has, at least he used to have his own trailer when he was with
That's what they said on DBC. They said Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch are the only ones that have their own hauler every week.
But when we went to Darlington last time, I thought it was a great midway. They had, I I think they had a few guys come out signing autographs, like old school guys, like Dale Jarrett was out there, of course, the GOAT. But then you had like they did like a stacking pennies thing, like on the live stage there. Corey LaJoy came out and was talking to people like separately from that. And then it felt like it's gotten better, like just from the first race I went to in recent years to now. I feel like it's gotten a lot better. And even Martinsville when we went Hicks I felt like was a really good midway. But I think they could continue to improve that. But I feel like they've been trying to make that whole experience better. But I'd like to see it continue to go. Brandon says KB is blended in with Dylan now, but when he was JGR, he had his own. So yeah, but yeah. So I don't know. I think we're making improvements, but still ways to go. But anyway. We're obviously talked about a lot so far. Last thing I'll mention with Talladega is the Larson hit. That was scary, of course. We'll get to our Fox flubs of the week in a minute, maybe, if everyone has one. But Brian, if you can be thinking of the biggest mess up that you saw Fox this week. But Larson involved in a wreck, kind of cutting down loose, cuts back up the track, Priest accelerating to try to get around the wreck, and ends up just nailing Larson at however fast he was going. Roll cage breaks. Pretty scary looking wreck. I think did they even take that car back to examine it?
Yeah.
They did. Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was a scary hit.
They requested the Priest one too, just so they can look into it even farther.
Yeah, that's good. Thank God that wasn't on the driver's side door, because that would have been.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the difference between the reinforcement on the driver's versus passenger sides, so much different.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just glad it wasn't on the driver's side. I don't want to test that.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been a harder hit for both of them if it was on the driver's side. You're a lot more rigid on that side. But I don't know. At least Kyle Larson wasn't hurt. Priest wasn't hurt.
Which wreck was that? Was that the one that
was the
was
Ross one? I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Which they were all Ross ones because
absolutely
the Ross the if gap car Ross wreck.
Yeah. What do we think about that wreck? I guess just kind of on that topic, I didn't feel like Ross did that much wrong. I felt like who was in front of him? Was it
Gregson?
Gregson.
Yeah. Gregson kind of gets moved up because Ross got kind of pushed into him, I felt like, and then Ross goes in there and Gregson just keeps floating down. I don't know. What do we think about that?
I love Ross for it. That's what led to KB winning. So great job,
Right.
Ross. Thanks, Ross.
Very unbiased opinion there, Zach. Thank you for that.
I think it's just a product of what we're given for a race, It's a restart of a super speedway, and you've got the pusher pushing, or pusher getting pushed. And I don't know, Ross got into him, obviously moved him up. Gregson wiggles, moves up, and Ross puts it in there. So I think it was going to be a wreck no matter what. If Ross lifts, there's a wreck. If Ross runs him over, there's a wreck.
It's no different than at Coda. What we're asking these guys to do with everything on the line, with 2 laps to go. Like they're going to be pushing and putting themselves in positions that they shouldn't. I think 10 laps into the race, does Ross take that gap? Probably not. Well, Ross probably, but I don't know.
Ross takes it 1 lap into the race. He'd wreck everybody for a nickel.
It's just that's just what you're going to get when you have a 2 to go to the checkered situation like this, and everything's on the line, and winning's so important. So it just is what it is.
Yeah. Hicks, big Larson fan. How are you feeling after that incident?
I was disappointed more than anything. I know him getting. It was obviously a shocking crash. My stomach kind of dropped as soon as I seen it. I knew he was probably okay with it being a passenger side hit, but I've never seen a hit break roll bars like it did. It was disturbing. And
do we know how close they actually got to him? Like how far they crossed the side?
I don't think they've even. I don't. They didn't really show that. Right. Yeah.
If it got close, they won't say it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was disappointed. I mean, he doesn't run well at super speedways. I don't think he likes super speedways. And then he's up front with 2 to go, fighting for a top 5, and then that happens, and it was really unfortunate.
I mean, kind of on that too. I mean, Bubba was up front there for a little bit. You had Blaney pushing him, Bubba blocking him. I mean, I feel like that was kind of I don't know. I don't like that. I'm torn on that incident because I love Blaney. I like Bubba. I think that they, I don't know if Bubba should have kept blocking like that, but also I'm like, why is Blaney making that move that early? Like, just keep pushing, make that move later. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a frustrating situation in general. Obviously, I think was on Bubba for coming down and essentially getting turned on him or making those late blocks too. But I thought that was another kind of disappointing situation. Thought it would have been a good finish between them two, but I don't know what everyone else's thought was on that.
If I'm Bubba, I'm doing that same move.
Yeah.
That 12 car was stupid fast. He's leading the line while saving fuel.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not letting him get around me.
Yeah.
I'm not letting him around me.
He was keeping up with Gibbs the entire time, and you'd watch the throttle input. You got Gibbs throttle to the floor the entire lap. Then you got Blaney freaking 75%. That car was stupid fast.
I'm not letting him in front of me. I'm blocking. So I don't blame Bubba for a second. Now, was that going through his mind when he was doing it? I don't know. But, again, it's same as the Ross situation.
Right.
I think if them guys could take it back, they wait and do that stuff, closer to the line. But it sort of is product of what we're doing here.
Yeah, I think Blaney was frustrated with him for making those blocks. But, I mean, he even said,
Blaney would have done the same thing.
Yeah, we're coming. He's like, I think he even said that too. He's like, I would have done the same thing. He's like, I don't think he blocked that many times, but also, we're both going for the win. Like, what's going to happen is what's going to happen.
Here's the question I have: do you think? We all know that Blaney and Bubba are best friends. Do you think their reactions are different if somebody else is involved in it?
I think so. I think Blaney
because they're both kind of like, it's hard racing. We're still buddies. Darn it! Like, but what if somebody else is the other car?
I think you could feel Blaney holding back a little bit because he's friends with Bubba.
He definitely seemed like he was, yeah.
They showed the in-car of Blaney, and it looked like he was about to cry. And I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I don't know whether it was because... Well, I think it was because he feels like he's been so close in these super speedway races.
Oh, my God.
So many times.
Right.
And it always ends in the same result.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does he have to do to win?
Blaney gets fucked more than anybody on the track.
Half the time by his own teammates, too, because
usually,
he's the odd man out. It feels like
he lets it happen, which is so frustrating, I feel like. Why he doesn't let it happen, but he tries to be a good teammate, and them guys just won't do it back.
No, yeah, he'll push Joey till the sun comes up, and then as soon as Blaney's in front, Joey will go outside with Cindric, and they'll run right by him. It's like, Blaney's the only driver I like on that team. And I would love to see him get more wins. I feel like he deserves.
Where would you
more
put
wins.
Blaney? If you could take him from Penske, where are you putting him? Where do you think he would have like that? Because we know he's a good teammate. Where do you think he would have that good mutual respect and do well?
I feel like Hendrick works well together.
Yeah,
they do work well together.
He's got I think he'd do well there. Or Gibbs, he's got a lot of personality, like a lot of the Gibbs drivers do, or at least have had in the
Gibbs
past.
guys work together pretty good.
Yeah,
typically.
If SHR can get their head out of their ass, he'd be the number one there.
Yeah, easily.
Trackhouse. I'd see him being a good third driver.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I don't know. Daniel and Ross seem to.
I just feel like he's got
low key not like each other.
I feel like he's kind of got the personality for Trackhouse. So I feel like personality fit is there. Like I don't know. I think Ross looks out for himself more than he probably does his teammates. But
I think they both do. I think Daniel and Ross both are sort of selfish.
Yeah.
But I think Trackhouse is out there to win races. They're not out there to, finish well in the points, for regular season. And I think that's what Blaney wants to be. I think he wants to go out and he just wants to win. And he needs to right now.
He did the exact opposite of that last year. He did really incredible in points, but didn't win nothing.
Yeah. Brian, where's Blaney going if not Penske?
Rick Ware, maybe.
All right.
Brian's in the cockpit camp.
Yeah.
He could be number one.
I mean,
He'd
yeah.
be their number one driver.
I think I could be probably number one at Rick Ware. As an iRacer myself, I had almost a 4K at one point. So basically, I deserve a cup ride. That's what that means. So
True.
I mean, send him to Colleague. Colleague is going to be.
That's not a bad idea.
Colleague's going to be a good team in the next 5 years.
I 100% agree with that.
yeah,
And they do have a really good culture of least they
Very good
did.
culture. They have a great culture.
yeah,
working together.
yeah. Very
I mean,
true.
how many times did they like freaking towards the end of an Xfinity race back a couple years ago? It's like there's always the 3 Colleague cars up there.
For better, for worse, that's what happened. So
And I think the one year Ross cleaned them all out, if I remember.
That was Daytona, I think, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Either cleaned them all out or he cleaned out Dinger. I can't remember which one.
One of those,
I think
yeah.
cleaned
How it
out
worked.
2 of them.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
funny.
Ross. He probably got one.
Colleague needs a driver like Blaney that could raise that team up a step.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know if
like
AJ's that guy.
Childress.
Blaney and Chandler Smith at Colleague.
Ooh, boy.
I'd like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's almost like a, Kurt Busch, Bubba relationship. where you
Kinda.
got the experienced guy versus kind of the youngin who's still kind of figuring out a little bit. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a good dynamic. I mean, I feel like, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that with Kyle now. I know Joe, you just mentioned RCR. I think that he has, I think Kyle has a great potential to elevate that team a lot. I feel like Blaney could do similar things. I feel like right now we're not seeing his full potential because he is basically the third Penske guy. But I think that essentially, I don't like him at Penske because he gets screwed over too much. But I want to see him still in a good ride. But I do like Blaney.
Yeah, I'd love to see Blaney get out of Penske.
Yeah. Quickly, Fox flub of the week. Anyone got one of those? I think mine is we new segment we kind of started last week. Just basically each kind of don't want to focus too much time on Fox's mess up because we could do entire episodes on that every week. But just kind of quickly what the main mess up point that stands out in our mind from Fox this past week because they have plenty every week. I think the first one that comes to mind to me was we see this huge hit with Larson and Preece. Get all these updates on Preece, get the in-car Preece, updates from Preece, Preece out of the car, all these shots from Preece, and we hear nothing about Larson. So the entire
This is the second time they've done that.
Yeah, and the entire time I'm sitting here, I'm like, is he okay? Like the only time I was like, okay, at least he's out of the car is when they show his car on the wrecker to show the roll cage broken. And I'm like, okay, at least he's out of the car, but like they have not said anything. And maybe it was like questionable, but he got to that infield care center. They showed the interview with him post race, and he was like fine. So I'm like, why? Like, why did they not give us just even an inkling of update to let us know? Oh, he's out of the car. Oh, he's taking the infield care center to be evaluated. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's Ryan Newman. He's stuck in the car. He's unconscious. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That was mine of the week for me personally. Andrew, you got one?
Yeah, I got one. Mine was during the Saturday race, we saw the 66 car spin out of the turn, and every single camera from Fox goes to the 66 car spinning and completely misses Blaine Perkins just barrel rolling down the
only shot we got
backstretch.
was across the track.
You just you see the 66 sitting up against the inside wall, and he hit a ton, I'll give him that. But then all of a sudden you just see a tire bouncing in front of the camera, and you're like,
So
where the
like,
fuck did that come from? And they zoom out and you see the O2, and it is just completely gone. Like everything's off this car. And you get one camera angle of him flipping, and that was it. And then they show it only in slow-mo. They never showed the full speed
I
accident.
think it was Nate Stewart or someone actually sped it up himself. And was like, hey, here's the full speed as best as I can get it.
Nathan, I can't pronounce his last name on Twitter. Yes, he's the big Ford guy.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah, he like sped it up best he could. But dude, just like going back to the 05 races I've been watching, like it's so crazy the difference of that because like they have so many cameras. Like they catch like some random, start and park car wrecking into the wall.
Yeah.
Like they'll have 3 camera angles on that somehow, but now Fox just misses like a main wreck.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I felt like they
nuts.
had 2 cameras on every car back then.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Mine is what was it? Mike Joy, like and just how he said something like when Gregson spun out Harrison, he said brought up their feud, and like 4 or 5 times after that, he like apologized for it, saying, "I'm not saying Noah did it on purpose or whatever." Like I just didn't understand.
He said 20
Like
times. Inadvertently.
You didn't call him a Nazi. You didn't accuse him of deleting 30,000 government emails off an unsecured server.
Ooh.
Like, calm down. I don't know why you have to apologize about it like 7 times.
Yeah.
We're like coming to the white flag. He's like, "Oh, by the way."
By the way, Noah Gregson didn't mean to turn him earlier. It was inadvertently turned.
I don't know what it was about.
Yeah.
But he felt really bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned mine earlier. Just Clint, just beating the dead horse of dancing partner.
Dancing partner.
Like Clint, we're racing. We're not dancing, buddy. Come on.
Brian, you got
Clint
one?
could just be a soundboard at this point.
Probably whoever said JJ Yaley was an F1 champion. That's
That was
gotta
at
be.
Martinsville, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it
Was that last?
That
Was that last
week.
week?
That was last week.
Oh
We'll
man,
We'll still take it, though.
still
That's a
solid.
good
We'll
thing.
allow it. We'll allow it.
It's so bad it can be repeated.
Yeah, we can carry that over.
I did have one other quick one, and that was so I think it was right after pit stops. We go to commercial, and we come back, and Mike Joyce just says,
Yes.
"Oh, we've had a fantastic couple of laps of 4 wide racing," or something like that. And it's just like, cool, because we saw none of it.
Oh, not to mention, when they cut from commercial early, clearly accidentally, Mike Joy, Clint, no one had any idea they were back. So it's just silent. We're just watching cars racing, and we're like, why did that commercial get cut off halfway? And of course, they cut off halfway through a commercial at some random point in the race, not when a giant wreck's happening. So anyway, whatever.
We
That's
love
cool.
Fox. Yes, we do. We love Fox. How about
Fox.
you?
How many more weeks still in BC, Zach? I know you're counting down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6.
Whew.
Lovely.
Can't get here fast enough.
7 if you count All Star.
Yeah. Well, obviously we spent a lot of time on Talladega, a lot of stuff we discussed just about the race in general, but also kind of different things overall. But moving on, just kind of any kind of NASCAR news. Austin Dillon with a penalty, 60 points, 5 playoff points. Crew chief
so bad
fined
for him.
$75,000 and 2 race suspension for illegal underwing components. Don't think anyone's really been out of shape of that one.
I am.
Not my favorite driver.
We got
beginning of the season, I had that plus 25,000 bet for Austin Dillon to win the championship, and I just wanted him to make the playoffs so I could cash out.
yeah.
But yeah,
He
thanks,
still
NASCAR.
might. He's still good to get a win, you know?
Kyle's
Kyle's got one.
That's what I was banking
2.
on. But
He's gotten 2. So what? Who's to say another RCR
come on,
car?
Daytona.
Yeah.
Them odds don't look good every time they release the Kyle.
Yeah, we just need a starting
Kyle
second,
plus
starting
600.
38. Yeah.
Kyle's always like plus 600, and you got Austin Dillon plus 90,000.
Yeah. Really cash out the day he wins another fuel mileage race. Anyway,
Yep.
A little more talk too, just as you know, LaJoy basically admitting to intentionally hitting Kyle on his podcast and nothing coming from that, versus not the same we got from Denny when he admitted to hitting Ross, or was it Ross?
Yeah.
On his podcast. As a NASCAR homer, this has obviously nothing to do with him being on a NASCAR sponsored podcast or anything like that.
No,
favoritism being
of course
showed
not.
there. But I mean, on a serious note, it does seem a little inconsistent.
It's
a little.
pretty shitty.
Ooh.
Like
I'd put it mildly.
Did
I don't
he wreck
know.
him?
I mean, that is a good point.
What's a wreck? Did Denny wreck Ross? I'd say he didn't. He put him in a wall. Nobody wrecked.
But how many?
That was putting him in the wall, not wrecking him.
A wreck brings out. If there's a wreck, there's a caution. There's no caution.
Both of them
Sure
lost
there
like
is.
15 spots in that.
Well, Ross was also brake checking on the backstretch.
Good.
To me, the
He
result
deserves it.
doesn't matter. The result doesn't matter. Like you said you said that you did on purpose. You said you tried manipulating a race.
Okay,
Whether
so
it worked or
if
not.
I'm at Martinsville and I admit that I bump and run the guy in front of me, should I get a penalty for that? It doesn't matter. I admitted
You're not
to hitting him on purpose.
I'm not saying anybody should get a penalty. NASCAR is.
I know, but
because
you're saying it's the same.
What Denny did and what Corey did are the same thing.
Debatable.
They both hit somebody intentionally, trying to cause something to happen, trying to manipulate the race. And NASCAR says that's not allowed. I don't think NASCAR should get involved in it. They shouldn't. Nothing should happen to Denny and nothing should happen to Corey. But NASCAR decided they wanted to step in with Denny for whatever reason. So it's like, okay, well, if that's how you're going to play it, then you got to be consistent with it. At least investigate it. There's nothing. They're just like, it's fine.
I don't know. I think it's two different situations, but that's me. I mean, nothing came of the LaJoy.
I mean,
thing.
LaJoy said he was trying to get a caution.
Yeah, he
But
did.
I mean, like, he was actively trying to manipulate the race, the whole flow of the race.
But he didn't.
I mean, what did Denny do that manipulated the race?
He cost Ross 15 spots.
Corey made Kyle lose spots by getting him sideways.
I think Kyle actually gained one because he went and got LaJoy back.
Yeah, that was later though. But in that moment, he lost a spot.
It was like half a lap later.
Whatever. He still manipulated the race. Manipulation is manipulation.
Let's
That's what I mean.
iRacing rules where even if you message somebody on Facebook saying I want to kill you in real life,
Who did that? Who was that guy?
Oh yeah, who was? He did it to Dobbs, didn't he? Like found him on Facebook. There's some guy who's like notorious for finding people on Facebook.
Was it?
It's not Olsen.
Funny enough, I think his name was an Andrew.
Wasn't me.
Angriest iRacer.
Angriest iRacer.
Angriest
That's not
iRacer.
me.
Here with the
I'm sure I'll
sex
get
icon of
blamed on it.
iRacing. So anyway, do we want to touch on the Denny bracket idea? He had that idea to do the play or the
like in-season tournament thing.
yeah
NASCAR March Madness.
Yeah.
Man,
I think
full
it's
on
a
in.
decent idea.
You guys are betting guys.
And I'll say that I found someone on Reddit did the last 5 years. So 2022, Bell would have won. 21, Chase would have won. Brad in 2020, Jimmy in 19, and Kyle Busch in 18. So
For the record, somebody told me the other day that I have too much time in my hands because I just made a slight comment about how netcode sucks in iRacing. They said I have too much time in my hand because I'm complaining. This motherfucker went back through how many years to do this bracket thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't know if it would ever happen, but it seems kind of fun. Just a little adds a little more intrigue to races. But I don't know. NBA is trying to do a similar thing too with their in-season tournament. So I guess that's the hot thing on the streets for professional sports.
yeah.
I don't know if NASCAR itself needs to pick this up, but I think it'd be great for the broadcast to pick it up and do kind of as a side thing.
Yeah.
But
I did see one interesting question. Would you determine somebody won by their finishing position or the points they accumulate throughout the race?
Ooh. I'd say finishing position.
Yeah,
So
I
I
have
have
to
to
go with that too.
Yeah, just a winner take all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no opinion on it. I've seen people on Twitter though; they seem to be excited about it. So it's kind of like whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, I think it's definitely something. I think it'd be fun to engage more fans. Like Denny, I think that his biggest point was it's like off season for a lot of sports, so good timing for people who are hungry for some kind of sports to get into it. But I don't know, be interesting.
I mean, I get his logic, and I agree with that. It's about creating storylines and something to talk about, which that's all great. But when do you do it? Does it start to? Because I mean, I feel like in a few weeks here, I think the big storyline is going to be playoffs. Or do we drag that conversation out too long? Maybe we don't need to talk about the playoffs as much as we do. I don't know.
Right.
Because how many weeks would this thing span? 5 weeks?
Let me see.
It'd be like 5 weeks, somewhere there.
Yeah.
I mean, and he suggested about doing it when, or somebody did somewhere about when NBC picks it up. So what's that, week
Perfect.
17?
Love it.
Because I think he was the one who said NBC doesn't have enough big things. This could be like theirs.
Right.
So it'd be week 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 would be over. So then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then you got 5 weeks leading up to the playoffs, which I guess is enough time to hype that up. So I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst idea. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, definitely something to consider. Be curious to see. I doubt anything's going to come from that, but I think it'd be kind of cool. Well, cool. Well, moving on to Dover quickly. High chance of rain.
I knew you were going to say it, Joe. I was just waiting for it.
Oh, good one. Anyway, high chance of rain. But even apart from that, I think I'm going to go into this weekend angry that we're not running the new package of this track.
What new package?
The short track package.
The short track package?
Yeah.
No, I thought it wasn't at Dover.
That's exactly what I just said.
Oh.
I wish they were running it, but they're already running it, so I'm still wishing. I mean, I feel like the tracks that would benefit arguably the most from it, Bristol, Dover.
Yeah.
How was the Dover race last year? I don't even remember.
Dover.
I guess that answers my question, doesn't it?
Yeah, you don't remember. I mean, it sucks because Dover, for whatever reason, I love Dover. I think it's just like any track I drive. Like, I love driving it on iRacing. It's like a fun track. It's one of my best tracks too, which is probably why I love it too. But it's just like, it rips apart the tires. It's like you're supposed to, and it's just feel, I wish we would have a little bit more of a driver's package on it. Now, my thought is like NASCAR's done with a couple things. Same with the stage cautions is they're starting with it on a smaller scale to try it out and then see how it goes and go from there. Like, they obviously don't want to like implement this package everywhere, especially these higher speed tracks where they have zero idea where, how this package is going to perform. So let's test it on kind of the slower tracks first and then throw it onto the quicker tracks. So I'm hoping in the future it goes that way, but also don't want to hold my breath that's going to happen. But I would love to see that different package on this track.
Yeah, I'd like to see the low downforce every track. That's just me.
True. But especially at Dover.
Yeah.
And Bristol.
I mean, it's a great track for it. It really is.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, I remember that one when they did the 550 package here. It was horrible. And then I think they did have Dover do the 750 low downforce with the Gen 6, and I think it was a lot better than I can't remember what our race was like with this car though. But yeah, I'm with Drake. Like, Dover's one of the tracks when I drive it on iRacing, like, it's like, holy shit, this is hard.
Yeah.
like this is a crazy track. It's just so fast. So yeah,
It's so easy to overdrive too. And if you overdrive it a tiny bit, you're slamming that wall.
Just the drop in from the bank, into the bank, is nuts.
Which fits my iRacing style perfectly to set that little flick in, get that right rear, set on the right rear a little bit.
You're gonna burn off the left rear on this next gen.
Yeah,
Remember
exactly.
when Drake iRaced?
Yeah, back in the day. I haven't even my wheel and pedals are still in the box. I haven't even taken them out since we moved. So,
what do we think about Hicks? About Dover, Mr. Hicks?
If I remember, one of the biggest complaints last year was the fact, I think what made the race either like unmemorable or bad, whichever one you want to call it, if you do remember it, was the high speed corners. Like, because of the high downforce, speeds were up in the corners significantly more than where you were with the Gen 6 car. And which is, I mean, like Austin said, it's easy to overdrive the racetrack because you're carrying so much more speed through the corner. So I mean, low downforce would definitely benefit Dover, but what can you do?
Yeah, guess we'll see. Again, I hope they do bring it there eventually, but who knows if we'll even see a race on Sunday because high chance of rain seems like. Fingers crossed. It's still early in the week, so things could change, but not.
I think it did get rained out last year too. There was another one, like they have the same issues as Bristol does. Like the Northeast, it fucking rains here all the time in the spring. So scheduling this race this time of year is kind of stupid.
Yeah. Damn Yankees.
Which maybe if you schedule it in the summer, it gets even better because the track gets hot, less grip.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're slipping and sliding more.
Yeah. True.
I know they had a couple rain cautions last year during the race. I don't remember if it got pushed back. I think it got pushed back to Monday, but
yeah, it got rained out.
Yeah.
Well, reschedule.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, I got my hopes up. I accidentally posted the Dover, New Hampshire weekend, and it was rain all 3 days. And Zach pointed out that it was New Hampshire, so I was like, "Oh, better go look at Delaware." And it's even worse. It's like 5 days of rain. So.
Northeast in springtime, man.
Man, it sucks.
Basically, fucking England.
Yeah. Call it New England for a reason.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. Fingers crossed. Hopefully get some racing in this weekend. But again, I love Dover. Hopefully the racing is not horrible. So, I guess kill count, going back to last week, Andrew got an update on the kill count for us.
Yeah, we got Joey still in the lead. He got 3 more this week. What
do we think about his move? You said about Joey real quick. What do you think about his splitting the field to stay in the pack when they were lapping him?
Classic Joey. I had expected nothing less.
I agree. He's the worst.
I'm surprised everybody's so surprised by that. I think Ross did the exact same thing last year, and everybody seems to forget about it.
It's because
I think. Go ahead.
It's Ross. He's allowed to do it.
He's allowed to do it.
Screw Joey. Can't stand him.
I think it's a move that's going to be fine until somebody fucks it up one time and wrecks the field. And oh my god!
I mean, theoretically, you can race if you're, that's basically the thing is if you're 1 lap down, you fight to stay on the lead lap. We saw Bubba do it at Martinsville. We saw plenty of people do it all the time. Like you fight to stay on the lead lap. I just think it's very different when there's a 20-mile-an-hour difference between you and the leaders because you're at a draft.
Oh yeah,
and you just hold the middle, especially like you're not even holding the bottom. Like you're showing middle. You go from the bottom to the middle, and it's like, okay, why not just hold the bottom? Like, why are you trying to split? I guess it makes sense because then you kind of break up that field. They're going to come back. I don't know. I guess the same thing can happen on the bottom. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I just hate Joey, so it was horrible.
Are you doing that move, Hicks?
What
Joey did?
Splitting the field like that.
No. You got more integrity than that?
Yes. I'm not good as a driver either.
Well, Hicks is a super speed enthusiast. According to his Twitter bio, as a matter of fact, it states premier plate track specialist. So he's not in that situation at all.
That move is he wouldn't be.
He's not making that move because he's pissed when the lapper does that to him when he's running the outside lane from lap 2 to lap 20. So yeah I'm with you.
Yeah.
We've all screamed at that guy in iRacing that holds the bottom.
I've screamed watching people do that on their streams where they hold the bottom and say, well, I'm allowed to hold the bottom. I overstand the lead lap. All right, man. Sure thing.
Supposed to hold the bottom.
I think I can think of a couple people that do that.
I can think of one.
Yeah.
It's Hicks. Anyway.
I'll do it. I will do it.
Anyway, yeah. So Joey keeping the lead.
Yeah. Yep. Joey got 1. Gregson got Harrison Burton there. LaJoy got Joey. Thank God. Thanks.
That should count as a negative for him, honestly. Cause
yeah. But we still got to give him 3. I think Dangle was on we should give it to Joey, which I'm not. I like the idea. But no.
Honestly, who was behind Corey? I would have almost put it on them.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I'm like, it's not really push him. Like
I saw Corey tried slowing down, and I think he did slow down. Then somebody's behind him pushing him. I think it was Stenhouse.
I think it was Ricky. Yeah, classic.
I gave Ross 4
for
the Gregson wreck,
and
fair. Then so the Blaney and the Bubba wreck. Who are you giving that on?
I mean, if you rear end somebody, it's your fault, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, can I say? I mean, you've got to give it to the guy that's blocking. It doesn't matter whether it's
why
Bubba.
It's both ways.
It doesn't matter whether it's Bubba or
Larson.
Yes, I mean, you give it to the guy that's throwing the dumb blocks. I mean, you block once, that's okay. The first block was okay. He blocked twice, and it bit him. And it bit 6 other people because Bubba made a mistake.
Wow, Brian. I didn't hear you speak up when you're talking about that record originally, so I'm glad you got out of your shell a little bit here.
We're giving it to Bubba?
All right, the guest says Bubba, so we're giving this to Bubba.
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
that seems fair.
I can go either way.
Bubba is now tied for second with 11 for the year.
With Byron. Byron also with 11.
Yep.
Still 4 cars to go to Joey, so Joey holding that lead.
Yeah, he's got a good lead.
Yeah.
He's probably going to hold on to it.
Well, moving on to next week then, do you want to do Survivor Pool and then move into our OnlyFans segment?
Survivor Pool. Boy, what an interesting week. So not our greatest week here. Andrew here Andrew did fantastic. Really, really carrying the podcast here with a P5 with Brad Keselowski. Things take a dramatic turn. Drake came in second with Bubba, who finished 28th. I came in third with Logano, who got 30th. And Joe was last with old McDowell, who finished 35th. So, not very great. So, Joe, go ahead and make your pick. Who you got?
Tyler Reddick, please.
Tyler Reddick.
It's a good pick.
Yeah. I'm going with Ross for no other reason than I just have a good feeling about it for some reason. So, Ross.
It's a good pick.
He was up there last year.
I am going with Alex Bowman. Again, purely because of the number. Jimmy's track, 48's track, So gotta go with Bowman.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
It's not, but I appreciate it.
I like it. I honestly do.
He's fucking consistent this year. So he's really not a bad pick.
He's just hitting points.
I was leaning Kevin Harvick, but now that I'm thinking about the weather, I think I'm going to take the guy that's going to start up front. I'm going to take Kyle Busch.
All right.
Kyle Busch. I was thinking about taking Kyle, but back when they had a spring and fall Dover race, Kyle always did horrible at the spring race for some reason. He did great in the fall race, always do horrible in the spring race.
Celebrity shot. Brian,
who you picking if you could pick anybody this week? Who you got?
Willie B.
Ooh.
Willie B?
Willie B.
Ooh.
Just a feeling, or?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I just think he's going to pull it out.
Them Hendricks, man, they've been fast. Well, fucking Chevys all around. How many wins we got with Chevys? 8 wins?
Have they still won every weekend in any of the series? Is that still a streak that's going?
It might be. I can't say it's not.
Coda would be the only weekend I can think of.
Yeah, well, let's see. So Zane Smith won trucks. Who won Xfinity? Oh my god! Now I gotta look it up.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Jeb won Xfinity.
At Coda?
Oh no, I don't know about Coda.
All right, let me look it up. Dinger,
So
that's
did
Chevy. Yeah, I thought Dinger won it, so that's a Chevy.
Yeah, so I think that's every week.
Chevy at Richmond, Larson.
Power of the bow tie.
Chandler Smith at Richmond. Larson at Martinsville. Busch at
crazy.
Dega. Yeah. I mean,
they're just unstoppable, and then Hendrick is leading the charge pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you think NASCAR steps in and makes some changes like they used to?
So much for parity. That's all I can say. I mean, the whole idea was that this thing was supposed to equal out, and
well, I mean, really. Yeah, but you still got the motor differences,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they do. I mean, they just had a redesign, and Chevy was strong last year. It looks like they're strong this year. Now, maybe Ford's kind of not really worried about it because they got that new Mustang coming out next year. So maybe they're looking at a big redesign of the nose next year. Toyota, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Toyota's kind of been there, but they don't have the speed Hendrick does.
Yeah. Well,
they seem to have picked it up the last 2 weeks.
They're getting better.
Yeah,
they are.
Right.
I think specifically Bell and Hamlin are getting better.
I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
This is kind of off topic, but since we're talking about Chevrolet, and I don't want to dive too deep into this. But with the Camaro going away
Mm.
and them being able to run it next year, what does Chevrolet do in 2025? Because Chevrolet doesn't make another car besides the Vet, and they're not going to run it.
Why not?
I don't think they do. That's not their. Do they do like they did? What was it, 2014 or something like that, where it was just the SS?
Right. I mean, I guess it's a good point. I mean, Ford doesn't run the GT; they run the Mustang.
Well, the
They're
SS
not
was
running their-
still a car. It was
Yeah.
still a production car, wasn't it?
I mean,
So-
honestly, the new car looks more like the Mustang than the previous versions.
That's a good
Okay.
question. I mean, what do they have? Are they going to come out with another kind of like mid-tier?
gonna-
People
sports
aren't
car?
buying. People aren't buying cars right now.
That's
Those are
true.
$60,000+.
They're probably going to kill it and come out with like a electric sports car,
They're gonna
thing.
be
Hybrid car.
some
in
generic
Zach's
car.
Theory.
The hybrid car.
The,
I'll tell you what,
Zach's theory.
the Chevy
It's going to
hybrid.
happen.
I was thinking even more about this, about the idea of NASCAR having a hybrid powertrain coming. GM's already developing one in GTP and IMSA, and who owns IMSA? NASCAR. So you have Cadillac making a hybrid V8 right now that's in development, that's being tested. Is it getting ready for Cup? I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I still think you're onto something there.
I,
I don't know if I like it, but I think
if a hybrid powertrain means we get 900,000 horsepower back, I'm fine with it. If you're going to tell me we're doing full EV, fuck that, I'm out. But I can live with hybrid.
I want to know Brian's thoughts on that. Brian, if Zach's theory last week was that NASCAR is saving high horsepower for when they inevitably announce they're going to switch to a hybrid.
What does that entail?
So
What do you mean?
horsepower.
Like what does that mean? It's going to what do you mean by hybrid?
So-
like half
It's
electric, half.
It's going to have some sort of electric power assist to it.
how does that affect the car?
Think F1. So
F1's
F1's
hybrid.
got
Mhm.
When do they use the electric part?
always.
Always.
So
I
when
mean,
do they
we're not
use that?
talking like that. Hopefully, we're not talking they're going to be doing like a push to pass or the
My thinking
engage
is
mode or whatever Formula E has, but
it'll still be like a traditional engine. It's just going to have electric assist,
like
so
a
that
Prius.
like a
Can you imagine they start
1,000
running
horsepower
Priuses?
Prius.
So what
it-
Cameras
it
and
what it
Supras?
just it runs on electric during cautions, during pit stops?
No,
I mean,
it's
maybe
just,
you
just
could
electrically
do like a-
assisted.
I mean, you could that's sort of
Yeah.
what GTP does. They have the electric assist during pits, like the takeoff. I think in those things is electric, and then the engine kicks on, the gas engine kicks on down the pit lane. You can do stuff like that, but the electric powertrain and ICE powertrain work in tandem all the time. There's no like push to pass button or turn the electric on or anything like that. It's just
I don't think I have an opinion on it. Then I mean, if it's not going to affect the racing, as long as it doesn't affect the sound, I don't care. I don't. But I go to a race car. I go to a racetrack to feel the car go by, and to go back home not being able to hear the person I'm riding in the car with.
Yeah.
If it affects that,
Yeah,
I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit going.
I mean, you can listen to that Cadillac GTP car. I think still sounds pretty good. That's a hybrid, so I think there's hope. I don't know. My theory is just that I think NASCAR is so stern on not giving us horsepower, and they're going to use, I don't know, bringing 1,000 horsepower back as a buffer to ease everybody into hybrid technologies. Because to your point, what you were saying earlier about old heads running the sport, if you tell a bunch of old traditionalists, hey, we're going hybrid, they're not going to be very happy about it.
Without
you say
something to
we're-
counteract it, saying we're going to
Right.
950 horsepower.
Right. But if you say we're going to a big horsepower number with hybrid, then it kind of softens that. So now what does that look like? I don't know. What I want it to look like is just what you have in IMSA with the Cadillac GTP and just a big
If you-
V8 motor with some electric assist. to
You
give you
can
more power.
win. You can win all the old heads over if the speed increases and it doesn't get any quieter.
Yep, I'm in. Give me the 200 miles an hour and straightaways.
Brandon mentioned, he says, Garage 51 is hybrid, if I remember correctly.
56, I don't believe it is.
Yeah,
I think it's the same powertrain.
Okay.
I think Garage 56, the spirit of Garage 56 is that it's supposed to be an experimental entry for Le Mans. Like you're supposed to do something goofy with it. Like I think one year it was somebody did like a hydrogen fuel cell. One year, I don't know if you guys ever seen that Nissan Delta Wing, but that used to be a Garage 56 entry. So it's supposed to be like some sort of revolutionary thing. And I think NASCAR originally floated that idea, but I'm pretty sure they're just using the exact same powertrain they have now. I think it's turned up. I think they have more horsepower, but they're using the same.
Yeah, I know they have more horsepower.
Like 750 horsepower, isn't it? Something like that.
Trying to see. I have the specs pulled up, but I don't see.
Which, speaking of 750 horsepower, and back to our horsepower conversation, NASCAR is saying about how it's a long runway for more horsepower. But then I think the guys over at Yates were basically like, "Yeah, we could have like 750 tomorrow."
Yeah.
Because I think Denny was saying it's basically just a different tapered spacer that they have. Like the engines can all run 750.
Toyota's going to be the only one to really struggle because Chevy's got the crate motor that's got the power. Ford's got it. I don't think Toyota does.
What do you mean? Aren't these all the same engines that made 750 last year or 2021? I don't think these engines are any different.
I thought he was talking about going even higher than 750 though.
Well, that's the thing. If going higher than 750, that would be the challenge.
Yeah, I think he was saying like 850.
But like a bump up to 750 sounds like pretty quick turnaround thing.
Great for me. More power, the better.
Put fucking NOS on them.
Yeah. As if they didn't do that in Larson's car a couple years ago. Anyway, so I hold to that theory. Hold to that theory. Zach's with me on that train too, Brian. Don't just turn up your nose at me. Where's he at? Where's he been at? Huh? Anyway.
Where's he been? He's been at the front every race.
That's weird. He wasn't this past week. It's roll cage said otherwise.
See him in the top 5 in points.
Yeah, he's 4th place in points.
Is he really now?
Yeah,
Damn it.
But anyway, he's not first. Yeah,
before Martinsville, he wasn't.
He should have 4 wins this year.
But he don't. He got 2. So
tough.
Anyway, as much as an RCR car, that's embarrassing. Anyway, well,
he's behind an SHR car.
Yeah. Andrew, you got our OnlyFans for the week to kind of send us home.
Yeah, we got 2. They're both kind of iRacing related.
I like it.
Perfect.
First one's from Brandon. In our world of online gaming like iRacing, every username and number has a story. What are each of y'all's? How did you come up with your names and iRacing numbers? Let's start off with our guest, Brian.
So I don't know what this segment is.
You're B Hicks.
This is our fan questions. Our fans send in questions from all around the globe. We have fans everywhere. They all send in questions. We're the best podcast out here.
One from Germany, which I'm pretty sure is Drake changing his VPN region, but we won't go into that.
We never got a comment from our German listener. If you're out there, Willkommen. Yeah, Brian.
So what do you mean by the question is? How did I come up with mine?
Yeah, yours is B Hicks, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But,
how'd you get to B Hicks though? Is that just like it flowed well?
No, does it flow well? It's the first letter of my name.
But how'd you get to that? How did you decide this works well?
I created it for like an email address when I was applying for an actual job, and then I threw 4303 on there because at the time I made it, the only 2 7-time champions was Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt Sr. So
and what number do you like to run in iRacing?
I run the 3.
Why?
It suits me.
For Richard Childress when he ran the 3.
Yeah, that's it. For Austin, big Austin Dillon fan.
He's
a huge Austin Dillon fan.
Loves Austin Dillon.
He wears a Kevin Harvick pit changer cosplay to every place he goes to. Brandon Diz in the chat. He does say that. I mean, the first part doesn't really apply to Hicks and Joe, so that's fair. But obviously, Hicks running the 3 for Austin Dillon, so that's good.
Yes.
Then Jay Soley. Joe, well, obviously we know why you're Jay Soley, but what number are you on?
Well, my iRacing name is Joe M. Sullivan, but I run, if I have the choice, I run the 9 for obvious reasons.
Why?
Bill Elliott.
Chase Elliott. Chase
Casey
Elliott.
Kane.
Weird.
Casey Kane, yeah.
Casey Kane.
Big Casey Kane fan.
Biggles. I feel like I've asked you this before, but this is a great question for you. I want to know this.
Honestly, I don't even know. It's a name that somehow it was a nickname from high school. I don't even remember how it happened.
And it's the name you ran when you were the Drift King.
Yeah, true story. My Xbox gamer tag. Yeah. So it's just I just stuck with it. It was a nickname in high school, and I made an Xbox gamer tag. I didn't know what to use. So I just went with that. And just sort of stuck with it ever since.
So tell us about your Drift Kingness, though. You ran it when you ran Forza.
Yeah, so back in those days, there's an FND in front of it, and that was for a Drift Clan that we were in. And I did run some leaderboards back in the day in the Forza 3 days. I was the #1 ranked drifter on Forza for a while.
Dang.
So that was cool. And then my number, I run 62, mainly because I like to make custom numbers, and I don't feel like having to make a bunch of them, and usually people don't run 62. So that's the number I found is
That's awesome.
more often than not available.
Yeah. So obviously Andrew Picks by Fitz is your name on here, but I know also Red Falcon is your Twitch name and your Discord name and everything. So where'd that come from?
Yeah, so Red Falcon is my high school mascot. Just I don't know, it's the Falcons and it's red. So kind of just use that.
Thought it'd be blue.
Yeah, no, not blue. But then the number, I honestly think it's kind of like Zach's picked his, but mine, I mean, obviously goes way back to I think the NASCAR 3 days online. You had to get, pick a number that nobody was using, or you get a 100 random 100 number. And nobody ran the 27, and since then, I mean, it's been my dirt racing number. It was my sport bike racing number. It's just my number, 27.
That's awesome. Mine, obviously Drake, last name's Drake, so that's where that comes into play. Originally, so I kind of flip-flop back and forth because the two names I like to do the most were Steak and Drake, like Steak and Shake, but Steak and Drake. And then Shake and Drake. Shake and Drake, I originally I didn't come up with it, but originally started using it in high school. There was like a football league. Like I was just like a bunch of guys would get together every year. It was like a whole thing in Hickory called the HFL, Hickory Football League. And it was just for people who sucked at football to go play football. Our team won the only year I played, so obviously it was because of me. But I was like, everyone comes up with nicknames, you get little jerseys, and like you put your nickname on the back. And someone was like, I don't know what to do for my nickname. He's like, oh, he's like, oh, like Shake and Drake. Or originally it was like Drake and Bake, but I'm like, that's gonna make me sound like a pothead. So I'm gonna do Shake and Drake because that sounds less potheady. So went with that, and then Steak and Drake was actually my original Twitch name before I was streaming. And then when I wanted to get into streaming, I was like, Shake and Drake makes more sense because it's like the NASCAR, the Ricky Bobby, Shake and Bake, and Shake and Drake. So I'm like, I changed it like right before I started streaming. I remember I was in Dobbs chat for somebody. Oh, hey, by the way, it's Steak and Drake. I changed my name. He's like, why the hell did you change it? I'm like, do you not get it? Like, it's Shake and Drake. It's like Shake and Bake. He's like, oh, okay. Anyway, so that's always funny to me, but that's why I went with that. Number I like to run most in iRacing is the 88 because of the best driver to ever drive the 88, which was Dale Jarrett. Stolen Valor by Dale Jr. But loved Dale Jarrett from the great town of Hickory, North Carolina. So had to run the 88, best driver in NASCAR of all time. So I like that question. That's a good question, Brandon. Thanks for bringing that one. You say you got one more, Andrew?
Yeah, we have one more. I almost didn't do it because it is submitted by Anonymous.
Oh.
And it is specific for one person. This is a Brian Hicks question.
Oh, no.
I love it.
How long ago was this submitted? Was this submitted after he told his Discord that he's going to be on tonight?
I think it was about the time. I don't know when time he posted, but it was, about at least 15 minutes before our podcast started.
Oh, boy.
But
ready for this one.
Brian, have you ever driven the Dallara P2 in a 24-hour race on iRacing. And how did it go?
I feel like that's from Dangle.
I thought it was from Zach, honestly.
No.
Well, let's just let Brian answer the question first. All right?
Yeah, answer
Brian,
the question.
Have you ever driven that car in iRacing?
Once or twice.
Maybe just once. What happened? Said circumstance.
In Brian's defense, our race was fucked well before.
Yeah. I learned the limits of it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you did.
If you want to see the clip of what happened, I think Zach replied to it on the from the tweet on our Twitter at the GWC pod on Twitter. Brandon says 100% an Alex question. I think I agree with that. It's a Dangle question through and through. But thanks for the question, Anonymous.
Definitely not Dangle.
Glad to hear you've driven the car before, Hicks. That's good to know. Well, I think that's about it for the week. Be sure to, if you want to submit a question for next week, go to our website. Andrew, what's our website?
Our website is thegwcpod.com.
Be sure to go on there. There's a form on there. You can submit your questions. We love we don't have those on there. If you're an iRacer, we do have a GWC podcast paint scheme on trading paints. Be sure to check that out from Zachary Biggles here. You can search Zachary Sullivan or Zach Sullivan on trading paints or Green White Checker podcast and find that if you want to run that. Show a little support. If we see you in a race, we'll be sure to not wreck you. So if you're not running one, we're wrecking you. So
absolutely,
especially
I might like you.
Yeah, especially Joe. But
yeah,
I think that's about it for the week, though. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks to our live stream viewers. Brandon says turn 6 is slippery, Brian, just FYI. So be careful coming out of turn 6 at Daytona Road Course.
That's the one.
Brandon, thanks for hanging out and chatting in the live chat. We're going to start doing this every week. So live streaming it. So be sure to check us out. We start around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard or Daylight's time, depending on the time of year. So check us out on our YouTube channel, which is at the Green White Checkered Podcast.
Make sure to sub.
Make sure to subscribe. You can watch the replays there as well if you want to see our beautiful faces, especially Brian's. I think that's about it, guys. Thanks for listening again, and we will catch y'all next week. Thanks, Brian, for hanging out. Brian,
yeah,
wait.
Thanks, Brian.
Let's get a parting word from Brian. Brian, what's your words of wisdom
Closing words
for the week?
Gosh. Put me on the spot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just follow, subscribe to these guys, man. I listen to it every week.
Oh.
Sometimes it irritates me what y'all say, but sometimes y'all have valuable insight. So
I can't wait to hear what has irritated you. We'll talk about that after the podcast.
You could probably guess.
Well, thanks, Brian. It's a personal endorsement from Brian Hicks. Thanks for being on the show, Brian.
You can't buy that. You can't buy that.
You can't buy that. Well, we are paying him $400 for being here tonight, so thank you,
true.
Brian. Andrew's actually paying him, but Brian, no, for real, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's been fun having you on.
We offered to sponsor his league. I'm just saying.
We did
many a times.
We'd love to have you back on in the future, Brian. So thanks for listening.
Yes, for sure.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we will catch y'all next week.
Bye.